You have so much to say, you have so much to express, and when you don't, it causes you pain. When you don't express this energy outside, it causes you eternal pain and you suffer. And the more you're not expressing yourself, the more you suffer. So you have to express. You just have to, you have no other choice. And sometimes you feel like your creativity is a curse because what am I supposed to do with this? Like, I know I have to express, but I feel so much resistance once I start doing this project, or once I wrote down a plan, I don't know, creating a short movie about my life, and that's your creative project. And this task being on your table, on your note for so many days, and you're looking at this, and the more you don't do it, the more guilt you feel. And in the end, instead of this inspiration and exhilaration and excitement that you're supposed to feel about your creative task, you just feel guilt of not doing this. Well, because you settled expectation for yourself that you have to do it. But creativity itself is not about you have to do it. It's not about boundaries. It's not about frames. It's not about expectations. Creativity, it's not even about creating something physical like art piece, picture, or music, or movie. Creativity is not that. Creativity is the courage to be yourself at this very moment as who you are. This is what true creativity is. When you are creating, you are. You are. There is nothing else exists. That's just process of creating only exists, and it's only possible in the moment. It's only possible. Like the creativity, it's not possible in your deadlines, in your frames. When you realized finally that you are a creative person, maybe when you were a child, you thought that you need to try to sell your creativity and to connect your job to creativity, and this is going to be a perfect life because since you are creative, since you have this talent, you have to sell it, right? And this is where you start killing it. Once you start selling your creativity and put this in the frames, it's not creativity anymore, it's a product. And that's why you feel so empty once you start selling your creativity. That's why you feel that it's not art anymore. You know, I chose being a designer because I thought, well, that's the best way to make money with my creativity, because this is how I can apply my creative skills to the business wise. This is how I can sell them. But once I hear the brief of the client, and once my project being criticized by my client and telling how it should be made, in the end it becomes just a product, and I don't even want to put this in my portfolio. I don't feel it has anything to do with me. It has anything to do with art. It has anything to do with what I wanted to express in the first place. And it happened to every single project that I ever done for someone. That's why I gave up this career of being designer. It doesn't make sense in terms of like expressing yourself as a creative person. I thought it's gonna help me to express myself, but in the end it killed all my desire to express myself. And it happens every single time when I try to sell it, because to be able to sell it, you need to make it into product. To make it into product means to make it fit the market, to put it in a certain frames. And creativity doesn't exist in frame. As you are, you don't exist in frame. If you try to put yourself in a certain frame, like smart, rich, tall, skinny, fat, I don't know, sportive, like whatever, you cannot, like, you're not all of this, and your art cannot be all of this. You are just, you are none of it, and at the same time you are everything. The real creativity only happens when you don't try to sell anything. I'm sorry to tell you this, but this is the only truth I discovered for myself so far. By the way, I don't believe there is actually not creative persons exist. Every single one of us is creative. People who say, oh no, I'm not creative, they just afraid of the label being creative, because if they tell you I'm creative, which they are, some kind of art required from them for the proof of their creativity. We even put the creativity in the label itself, because when we hear statement creative person, we imagining someone, I don't know, dressing up in an interesting way, like drawing pictures, making music, and some kind of weirdo, artist. This is what creative person for us. But what if I tell you that dude in a gray, not noticeable cloth, t-shirt is the most creative person? And generally, this is how I feel actually. Those people who kind of you don't even notice them in a crowd, they have such an interesting gems inside themselves to explore. Those people who put in so much stuff on themselves, trying to be so noticeable, it's like they're trying to prove themselves. I am creative, I am stylish, I have very interesting taste of clothes, of music, of art, And in the end, when you start talking to these people, it's like, this thing, they say, if it make a huge sound, it's empty inside. Because all they try to prove themselves, and this is not creativity. Try to prove yourself to society, selling your art. This is opposite of creativity. And unfortunately, because we've been taught the wrong idea about creativity, that's what we are trying to do with it, and that's why it causes us so much pain. That's why we are constantly self-sabotaging ourselves before our creative projects. We just got the wrong idea. Creativity is the ability of being yourself. Creativity is courage of expressing as who you are in this very moment. And every single one of us is creative person. Maybe if you would give up label of creative person, and maybe if you stop pressuring yourself from that you have to express yourself, you have to, maybe you would feel better. Maybe like you don't have to do anything. Maybe you can just be yourself. You don't have to draw pictures, write books, make movies, make music. You don't have to do any of this. I know you can, by the way. I know you're very talented. I know you are capable of creating a masterpiece. But it doesn't mean you have to do this. If it causes you pain, what is the point? The point of creativity is joy. There's also so many art being created from pain. It's like we people don't even know how to create things from joy and love. Like the movies, the masterpieces, art, music. There is so much pain in it. So much pain. It's like if we don't feel the pain, it's like we don't consider this as real, The goofy movies with joyful vibes, we just say, oh, it's not real. It's just like, it's bullshit, But the movies with pain and drama and suffering feel so real to us. How about we start to create from the place of love and joy? What art would look like then? Because now I feel most of the art I know, in fact all of the art I know, it just comes from pain. But I don't believe this is the only way it has to be. I believe we can create from the place of love. If it's never done before and we don't know how to do it, doesn't mean it's impossible. It's like seems that the fuel for our creativity, for our art was always pain. Because it's always about expressing some sufferings there. But what about expressing joy, expressing love? By the way, if you know any kind of art piece, can be movie, music, book, anything, any kind of art piece created by a human being that came from the place of love, please share with me, because I'm collecting those like gems. Because it's such a rare thing to find the masterpiece that came from love. It doesn't have to be masterpiece, it can be just a thing. Yeah. And because of this story about creativity, that's why creative people are so much in pain. I feel it's like the more creative you are, the more in pain you are. It's like this gift, this talent comes with the pain all the time. This is what I get used to notice around myself. When I was studying design in university, we had so many brilliant, talented people in our group. And the more talented person was, the more weird he was, and the more unhappy sort of he was. But again, I think it's just because of this kind of narrative that we've been telling to ourselves. I believe we can create from the place of love, where we don't try to prove ourselves, where we don't try to earn money, where we don't try to get external validation from someone's. You are all creative beings, creative people, creative beings. You are creating every single moment by just being who you are. So let's just start to create from the place of love finally, and see what kind of art will appear if we create from that kind of place. Please share your thoughts around creativity, and share some kind of art pieces, movies or books or pictures, drawings, paintings that you feel came from the place of love and peace. I would love to see them. And share please how was your creative journey, because mine wasn't easy. Mine was just causing me sufferings most of my life, and only recently I started learning how to be creative and at the same time not being in pain. Since I'm not in pain, I'm not trying to prove anything. I'm just doing projects that will not make me any money. I'm just doing them for the sake of doing, for the sake of joy of doing. And it's kind of different. I'm still in a process of learning how to approach it from a different way, how to find this fuel not from the place of pain but from the place of love. And I would like to hear how was your journey so far on your creativity. Please share it with me. And thank you so much for being here. I love you so much, creative, beautiful beings.